Several Israelis have said they will be attending Arafat's funeral in Ramallah. Security officials say they will be required to sign statements releasing the IDF of responsibility for their safety. Among those attending will be former Knesset member, peace activist Uri Avnery, perhaps the Israeli who was closest to Yasser Arafat. Uri Avnery is with us now from our Tel Aviv studio. Thank you very much, Mr. Avnery, for being with us. What are the reasons that are taking you to Ramallah for Arafat's funeral?
I believe that the death of Arafat is a great loss for Israel, for peace, and for the Middle East at large, because Arafat was the only Palestinian leader who had the towering moral authority not only to make peace with Israel, but also to get his own people to accept the peace. And no one will have this kind of authority for a long time to come.
Mr. Avnery, as Arafat's friend, I imagine that you did consider yourself his friend. Did you ever, as a peace activist, say to him, enough of the violence, turn to other ways to reach your goals?
Arafat put an end to violence whenever he saw a path to peace by peaceful means. After the Oslo Agreement, until the assassination of Mr. Rabin, there was hardly any violence at all. Before the our attack on Lebanon, for 11 months after the ceasefire brokered by the American diplomat Habib, for 11 months not one single bullet was shot at the northern front. Arafat was very strongly committed to achieving peace with Israel on his terms. This must be stressed.
Well, you know that almost everybody listening to you now, Mr. Avnery, does not agree with you, especially after the Camp David talks. I don't want to go back into history. I just wonder if, on a personal level, you ever talked to him about terrorism, about the need to put an end to the terrorism.
When you say terrorism, you mean Palestinian resistance, armed resistance.
You don't consider it terrorism?
I consider terrorism like the terrorism of the Algerian freedom fighters, of the Kenyan freedom fighters, the South African freedom fighters, terrorism of Mandela, of Benbella, of Kenyatta, and half a dozen, 24 other liberation fighters in the last 50 years. All liberation fights used this kind of violence, sometimes much more cruel violence than the Palestinians ever used.
Well, I think there are many differences between those, but we're not going to go into discussion of that right now. But one last question about Abu Mazen, who appears to be Arafat's heir. Do you know him, and do you think that he, as he has said in the past, will turn away from violence, unlike Arafat?
I know Abu Mazen for 20 years. He was present at most of my meetings with Arafat, and I met Arafat about 100 times. And I know Abu Allah for about 15 years under the same circumstances. I believe they are decent people, they are upright people, people who want peace as much as Arafat, under the same conditions as Arafat. And I believe that it is now the duty of the government of Israel to make very big gestures for Abu Mazen, so as to enable Abu Mazen to show his people that he is bringing achievements. If this is not being done, the present regime of Arafat will have the same end as the last regime of Arafat 2 years ago.
One more quick question and a quick answer, if you'd be so kind. From your knowledge of Abu Mazen, will he be willing to give up on the right of return for Palestinian refugees?
No Palestinian can give up the right of return. They can only negotiate the terms. How many people will return? A symbolic number at least. And Arafat was ready for that, and Abu Mazen is certainly ready for that.
Uri Avnery, thank you very much for being with us this evening.
Thank you.